Hi, vinyl community. Welcome back to our new installment. Like I said last time, we were going to be focusing on 80s comedies, 80s comedy vinyl soundtracks. So we're going to go start off with A through D. There's a lot of ground to cover. So anyways, first one up, the soundtrack to Armed and Dangerous. There's some pretty good songs on here. There's Oi Como Va, some miscellaneous songs. I mean, with these 80s soundtracks, you're going to get music from the movie. Nothing special, but this is actually a pretty fun soundtrack to have. Next up, Bachelor Party. So pretty much all the songs from the movie that you remember, they are on here. Why Do Girls Like Bad Boys and all that good stuff. Yeah. Very fun soundtrack. If you play this, someone's going to recognize the songs from this movie. Back to School. Again, pretty much all the songs that you might remember from the movie. Of course, it's got the Twist and Shout. Oingo Boingo's on here as well. Another fun album. Can't go wrong with that one. Back to the Future, which, of course, you know, if you collect soundtracks one point or another, then you've had this album. Even if you don't, you probably have this album just for the Huey Lewis songs. But there's also some other good songs from the 50s that are worth checking out. The musical overture by Alan Silvestri is fantastic. Iconic as always. Alright. Next up, the soundtrack to Beetlejuice. Music by Danny Elfman. Really good. This is another album that I used to have when I was in high school, and I used to listen to this musical score over and over, and it was just great stuff. This is real true Danny Elfman at his best. Next up, Better Off Dead. Again, all the songs that you can remember from the movie, they are on here, including the title track song sung by E.G. Daily, who you might remember as Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Very fun album to have. I got this off of a seller from California, and I don't think he knew that how much it was worth, because I got it pretty cheap, and as you know, if you collect vinyl, it's a kind of a costly album to find. But again, very fun. This is great. Next up, the soundtrack to Brighton Beach Memoirs. Which, again, because the movie takes place back in, I think it takes place in the 40s if I remember right. So, of course, it's going to have a lot of music from that era. It's not too bad. And I know I've seen this movie so many times. This album is sealed, so I have not listened to it yet. But I certainly remember most of the music to it. It's just one of those albums I have not got to just sit around and just pop it in, and you know, how many times are you in the mood for, hey, the Brighton Beach Memoir soundtrack. Next up, Bronco Billy. Well, I should say the only reason you would want to get this album, the only reason this album even made something of itself, was because of the song. There's a duet on here with Clint Eastwood and Merle Haggard, and it's the song Barroom Buddies, which is kind of funny if you try to imagine Clint Eastwood singing. Of course, you know, he really couldn't sing for shit in Paint Your Wagon, and he didn't really improve here either. But yeah, neat little album. That's the only reason I got this album, was for Barroom Buddies. Okay, don't throw the tomatoes yet, but yes, this is the worst soundtrack to one of the worst movies ever. And why I picked this up, it was $1. I couldn't help it, and I threw it in here with the 80s comedies anyways. Of course, you know, just like the first Caddyshack, you have a title song from Kenny Loggins. This one not as memorable as I'm Alright. Yeah, there's no reason to get excited about this one. Let's go. Alright, Club Paradise. Now, this album I can't rave enough about. This is very hard to find. A lot of different songs. Most of the songs are by Jimmy Cliff, but this is a great, it's not all completely reggae. I mean, but this is a great album. I mean, I listened to this album for like a whole summer straight. This was my soundtrack for that summer of '87, and God, I love it. Anyways, great album. If you can find it, get it. Get it. Next up, the soundtrack to Coupe de Ville, a little movie that came out in the 80s with Daniel Stern, Patrick Dempsey, Eric Gross, Alan Arkin. Really cute movie, and it takes place, and I believe in the early 60s. So again, you're going to have a lot of music from the 60s on here. Rubber Biscuit, Louie Louie, I Only Have Eyes for You. So, That's nice. I mean, if you have a soundtrack with a lot of songs from the 50s, chances are you probably already have these songs on here, but it's still fun. DC Cab, you know, it's got the song from Irene Cara, which made it big. I think that was a full-fledged single for her that year, and that was the year of Irene Cara. Other than that, there's not a whole lot that really stands on this track as being a must-own, but it's fun to have if you're, you know, an 80s film freak like I am. You gotta have DC Cab. Next up, the soundtrack to Dr. Detroit. And as you can see here, music by Devo, James Brown, Patty Brooks, T.K. Carter, Lalo Schifrin, which is the, I believe there was a musical composer that has done some other music before and other soundtracks. But pretty good album, really fun. Dr. Detroit. Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Again, a little bit of mixture from, I think this was the one that has like Little Richard on there. California Girls by David Lee Roth. Of course, the Randy Newman song, I Love L.A. But not too bad of an album. Again, if you're collecting 80s soundtracks, just grab it. And last but not least for this segment, the soundtrack to Dragnet. And this is another album that I had when it first came out. You know, it's got some musicals. One side of it is musical score by Ira Newborn, who you might remember did the musical scores for various movies like Weird Science, to name a few. This also has the Just the Facts song, and it is a rap song between Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. And if you've never heard of this before, go YouTube it. They do have a video for it. Pretty funny stuff. Only time you'll ever see that. And it's got it's got a couple other songs over here, I believe, sung by, what was the name of that band? There's Art of Noise, New Edition. That's the one I was thinking about. So, not too bad of an album. So anyways, this about wraps it up for this episode. This is, again, 80s comedies, A through Ds. We'll be back next time, and we'll start at the E's and go on up. Until then, thank you for checking out our channel. Be sure to check out our art at our website, twoheartsart.com. Until then, we'll see you next time.